Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about Dairy Girls Season 3. So I finally now got to finish the entirety of Dairy Girls. I finally watched Season 3 in its entirety. Because at first I only watched the first and fifth episode because those on YouTube. I gotta say, man, this was one hilarious season. And it's truly sad to see this show go and everything. And of course, you can watch it on Netflix. It's an Irish comedy, sometimes black comedy. But my God, I swear to you, this is one of the most hilarious series I've ever watched. I've already talked about season 1 and 2 and talked about individual episodes because if you've never watched this show, you are truly missing out. And it's quite a shame that it's on Netflix of all things, but it's even sadder that it's not on DVD. And even if it was, most likely it wouldn't be available for people of North America. And this was truly an amazing, like, I can't help but to say amazing because that's really what it is. And it really captivated me ever since the first season. I truly still believe the first season is the best. It was more ballsy with the jokes and they were very unapologetic. And they did go a bit too far with a lot of their religious jokes and stuff, which is probably why it kind of went away from that hardcore comedy from season 1, and it still was funny, but they dialed it back in season 2 and 3. 'Cause I think they kind of went a little too far with the whole Virgin Mary statue and the dog and the pee, and yeah. But this show also opened up people's eyes to what was going on in Derry, Ireland, or Derry, London, whatever they want to call it. Because, the troubles were going on around that time, and somebody who's American who had no idea what the world that was, it was really fascinating to learn about that. And the creator really wanted to touch down on that, because, you see these people and kids doing out their normal activity, but then all of a sudden there are military guards walking the streets and doing checkpoints and stuff like that. You really don't get that much of this season, but they do talk about the ceasefire and it's still like a checkpoint type thing, and each season ends with something dramatic happening. And this season, something very traumatic happened. Somebody died. A guardian. However, I have some mixed feelings about that. It's kind of like that just came out of nowhere, and for me, it didn't have the same. It didn't have. It didn't have nothing like. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, it didn't do nothing for me, and that's because this is a character I've literally only seen in 1.5 episodes. I think it would have been a whole lot better if it was somebody else. Because basically it's like this. The last episode is the Halloween episode, and Claire is finally get to go on a date. She came out as a lesbian in the finale of season 1, and it caused a bit of a stir between her and Aaron. And so, they later accepted her, but then, the episode ends with something terrible happening with the troubles and stuff. And so, throughout the entirety of the show, she's never been on a date and she's never kissed a girl. No, she did go on one date with a girl, but I don't know if she was really a lesbian. No, she was just doing it for fun. But that girl turned out to be crazy in season 2. But anyway. So she finally gets to meet a girl and she's happy, she's excited, and it's good for Claire, you know what I'm saying? Her and her dad get into a little bit of an argument with the new car he bought and everything. And so pretty much she's desperately trying to find this girl. After finding her and finally getting her first kiss from another girl, all of a sudden tragedy hits and she's revealed with some terrible news. Her father died of a brain aneurysm. And so it goes from this exciting moment all to this sad stuff in the hospital. Then it goes from that, a bunch of crying with her coming out because he didn't make it. And then we see like the funeral and the pallbearers and all the cast members and stuff and their parents. And Claire's crying. Her friends are like consoling her as they're walking with the casket. And it just ends. It ends on that traumatic note. And my problem with that is that there was no build up to that. My problem with that is that we literally only met Claire's father in the episode prior, and he's barely in it. And so, like, to me, that didn't do nothing for me because I don't know this character. We don't even get to see him and Claire together and stuff that much. It would have been more impactful if it would have been one of the Quins and stuff. If it would have been Erin's like parents, or better yet, her grandfather, Grandpa Joe. If Grandpa Joe would have died at the end of the season, boy, let me tell you, that would have been the most devastating thing ever. Grandpa Joe is one of the best characters on that show. That is who they should have killed off. Killing off Claire's dad just didn't do nothing. And I get they wanted that big dramatic thing, but I feel like that should not have been the way. Anyways, but this season, like, sometimes I think it might be better than season 2. I don't know. I know episodes 2 and 3, my God, some of the most hilarious stuff I've ever seen. 1 and 5 are pretty good and everything. And like, what is it? 4 and 6 are good. But I don't know, there was some things that were kind of hit and miss for me. Those are the 2 Halloweenish type episodes and stuff. But like, we love these little misfits and everything. Like they are the Derry girls and James. And they still hitting the same beats. Michelle is still being rude to James, which I'm glad she still is, because at the end of season 2, it's shown that she really does love that dude because that's her cousin, but she's always making fun of him. But she doesn't miss a beat. Now, there is another thing, a problem I had also with episode 4. Those are the 2, like 4 and 6, they kind of didn't do it for me. 4 finally gave, I guess, fans what they wanted to see for the longest time. James and Erin kind of get together. For me, it kind of came out of nowhere because it's never really truly, well, it's been little inklings here and there. Every season, there's always one episode that might make you think they might get together, but they never do. And they always go off and start liking other people, so you just don't ever really think about it. The first times with that Russian or Ukrainian girl, and she wanted to do James, and so that made Erin jealous, and all of a sudden. And then the next time she got stood up for the dance, and James did the whole Rachel Ross thing where he showed up in the tux, gonna take her out, and she was really happy and excited. But other than that, there's never been no real build up to it. And so James finally confesses that he's always liked Erin, but he's never had the courage to tell her that. But yet you never really see no build up to that. Not even in that time when he took her to the dance. So this was really just something I think more fans wanted to see. And so they decided, all right, this is the last season, let's just do it. Erin's happy and excited, and she makes out with James, to the disgust of Michelle. Michelle literally says she does not want this to happen, period. And she refuses to allow it, all because she tells her Erin's her best friend and James is the cousin. When they break up, and eventually they will, because the thing about Erin, she's always act like she doesn't like James, and she makes fun of James, and so you never really felt like she liked him and stuff. And Michelle tells them literally she's gonna have to pick one against the other, and she doesn't want to do that, and she's gonna have to pick James because that's her family, and she'll never have to speak to Aaron again, and she doesn't want that. And Aaron realizes that, like, that would be the scenario that would happen. So she tells James that it could never be anything between those two, but he tells her he will wait for her and everything. And she kind of just gives this look of, we're gonna keep on waiting, but then gives that kind of smirk like she likes it and she's gonna like wait too type thing. And so I never ever wanted those two to get together. And I remember when I saw clips of them kissing, I'm like, no, man. Because I don't know, like, you can't always give fans what they want. Because if it don't make too much sense in the show, then it's very pointless and stuff. And, with the other girls, like, Ola is still Ola, so she's just kooky in the head and I never know what she's saying. But it turns out she's actually smarter than all of them when she took like this standardized test and everything. And Michelle is just as cranky as like ever and just as blunt and just as rude. And it's so interesting because we even get to see that one girl she tried to like act tough with in the first episode of season 1 on the bus. We get to see her brought back finally and stuff. I always wonder what happened to her. I forget the other girl's name. I think Jenny, I think her name is. She's still in it. She doesn't have no big role, but she's always there to like rub it in the girls' faces and stuff like that. And she ended up stealing like a song that they wrote. So I thought it was gonna be like this big thing where Jenny was finally gonna have her moment, but they never do, and it goes a completely different route. And so like the parents, I'm so glad they gave the parents like this solo episode. It did feel a bit out of place because it was the 5th episode right before the finale. And basically, I've already talked about this, is they're having like their reunion and stuff. And so, we get to see flashbacks of when they was kids looking like the young cast members and stuff, and they act just like them. And it turned out to be one of the most hilarious episodes ever, and it finally gave the parents their due other than just being supporting cast members. And even though it felt out of place, it just felt right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just nice to see them have their own like due on the show. Sister Michael is just as crankier and rude as ever, but she's wearing crutches this year. And that's because the actress in real life, something happened to her where she had to be like on a cane or crutches or something like that. And it turns out we see now why she is the way she is, why she's so rude, why she's so moody, why she cusses so much. Because she blurts out really fast that she doesn't believe God is real and everything, yet she's a nun. So this really now finally explains why she is the way she is and stuff. Now there's a really hilarious train episode, which like they're all going on vacation, called the Big Dipper or something like that. They want to ride this little Big Dipper machine type thing, amusement park ride, and Claire gets left behind the train station, which is hilarious when she screams and hollers and stuff. So while on the train, like they're bored out their mind, and the parents they meet a woman they knew in high school, but they don't remember her. So it reminds me of that King of Queens type episode where Doug sees this guy from high school, but he don't remember him and stuff. And so James get his bag mixed up with somebody who robbed something. They have thousands of dollars, a gun, and a ski mask. And so they think it's the mean guy who was sitting next to them and stuff. So they try to swap bags with him. It turns out it's a cool misdirect. It's literally the woman who's been talking to the parents and stuff the entire time. And Claire's not in that episode much, but she's at the train station with Sister Michael, and they barely ever talk. And it would have been nice to have more of a Claire type episode, but sadly she was not in it. And let's see, I'm trying to think, what was episode 2 about? I just remember it being so hilarious, but I don't even remember what it's about. Oh boy. But like at first I never thought this season it was gonna happen because they got renewed and then COVID happened and they got delayed for the longest period of time. And I truly believe they could have went on for more seasons if it wasn't for that. Years down the line, I would love to see a follow-up show where the kids graduate, like, their school and go to college and what they do as adults. I would love to see that, but who knows if that would ever happen. Most likely, it probably wouldn't. And, it's quite a shame to say goodbye to the land of Derry and our Derry girls and James, man, because they made like 3 seasons appear gold. And this was a huge phenomenon. They even had a mural painted on like the side of a building. It was that big. And not only that, but two of the stars have went off to be in 2 American movies. The actress who plays Erin was in the Flash movie. I don't know how it was like a small role from what I heard. She just plays like a friend of somebody else's. And that's about it. And the actress who plays Claire, she went on to Bridgerton. And not only that, but she's gonna be in the new Barbie movie. She plays one of the Barbies that actually just came out just now. And so, yeah, hopefully, this will lead to bigger and better things for the entire cast and stuff. I would love for this to be on DVD, but sadly, it just isn't. Now, there is an interesting what was it, 4, which is kind of like a Halloweenish type episode, seances and stuff like that. It was kind of weird to have 2 Halloween type episodes. And, one's more like a costume party, and the other one's more like a paranormal type thing, but paranormal stuff does not happening. It's basically they're supposed to like clean out a house from a hoarder from Sister Michael's aunt, but they get the wrong house. And all this spooky stuff is happening, is raining, is lightning, like all kind of stuff. James get hit by the car. Oh, poor James. And stuff. It makes for like a really interesting time, but it does seem kind of like an out of place type episode. But hey, whatever, you know what I'm saying? God, what was episode 2 about? It was literally a hilarious episode, but I cannot for the love of me remember what it's even about. But man, I am gonna miss this show. You should really check it out on Netflix, man. Like, it is truly hilarious. And because it's an Irish comedy and stuff, it's a whole lot different than American comedy. And it's always fresh and new to get a different perspective on different things. Oh, now I remember what episode 2 about. The best episode of the entire season probably. Next to that of 3. So basically they're having like a talent show type thing, right? But before the girls and James can do that, they need the plumbing fixed at their house. And the plumber is like this guy that all the girls and women in the house like. They're just, well, except for Claire, because she's a lesbian. And so they're all drooling over him, and they can tell that Mary is drooling the most. And it makes her husband very uncomfortable and stuff. And so Claire always hears and sees the plumber give Mary like his number and tell her don't tell nobody. So she's been acting weird ever since then. So Claire, of course, tells everybody else thinking that Erin's mom is cheating. Because of the way it's set up, it does seem like it is. And they even spy on her, and then she's at like his house. They close the curtains, and it's like, oh my God, like she's gonna cheat on Jerry. And so Erin is devastated, but she's acting like it doesn't bother her as they're about to get ready for the talent thing. Well, they're the Spice Girls, and they sound just like them, and some of them kind of look like them. And they're singing one of my favorite songs, Who Do You Think You Are? And so Erin, when she sees her mom, because the plumber is there at the concert as well, at a talent show. And so like this upsets her that she goes off stage. She confronts her mom about it. Everybody's like, "Oh my god!" But of course, Grandpa Joe, he's excited. He don't like Jerry, and so Mary's kind of like, "Oh my god, I can't believe y'all found this out and all this stuff." So you think something happened, but you know it probably didn't. Well, it turns out she wants to go back to college because she feels like she's unappreciated and stuff like that. And he was gonna help her do something. There was more people there and stuff, but they didn't get to see those people in the room. They just saw Mary and the plumber. And so because of that, and they left off stage and they was one of the best acts, they lost to Jenny. And I really love that misdirect of them. Like, it was set up perfectly. You really truly thought Mary was hiding something, like, and because Jerry, Grandpa Joe don't like him. He has that awkward bald spot, and the plumber dude's like all muscular, and everybody's drooling on him. So you really thought that she might have stepped out and everything. And this is a dark comedy and stuff. So I do love that misdirect. Now, this show is set in the 90s, and you get a lot more 90s like American music than before. And I mean, a lot more. Some songs I ain't heard of in a long time, and I was literally just thinking about a couple of days ago. Like, um, Where Do You Go From No Mercy, the three Hispanic singers? Man, that's so 90s and stuff. But like seeing the Home Alone 2 like little recorder thing that Kevin had, that Ola has in this episode, that was hilarious to see. Cause I remember I wanted one of them things so badly as a kid. And Sister Michael, her driving in the DeLorean of all cars was just like the oddest ball thing. So they really wanted to like show, hey, don't forget this is set in the 90s and it's got some 90s references. And yeah, I think the last Back to the Future movie did come out in the 90s, I think. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.